My kids are Zarathustra, Amadeus, Zebulon, Ulysses, Scheherazade, and then the new one is Quarksy, QORXI,
Whoa.
which is an acronym for Quantum Organized Rational Expanding Intelligence.
If I'm in a stimulating conversation, I'm very present. If I'm in an unstimulating conversation, I have to make my own fun.
Right.
And so I will start to sort of play. I mean, at times I'll just make up a story and see how it flies. If I don't think I'm hurting anybody. And sometimes I'll sort of experiment with people. I think we'll all do it.
I would like to get a human-level general intelligence in 5 to 7 years from now.
If I were to start talking about the octonians, an 8-dimensional number system that no one understands.
If the laws of physics as we know them now are correct, which they certainly aren't.
These are all just patterns and regularities found in nature.
Right.
And they're giving them names and explanations.
I see what you're saying.
These names and explanations can be debunked later on. I put them in the maybe pile, plausible pile.
Since if you take a plane and fly to China, you actually land in China.
I guess, yeah.
You'd guess? Don't you live there?
I live in Hong Kong, yeah.
Well, close to China.
I mean,
sort of China.
I have an unusual state of consciousness.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, if you think about it, like, how do you know that you're not a brain floating in a vat somewhere, which is being fed illusions by a certain evil scientist, and 2 seconds from now,
he's going to pull the
this
plug.
simulated world disappears, and you realize you're just a brain in a vat again. You don't know that.
You're right. But based on your own personal experiences of falling in love with a woman and moving to another part of the world.
But these may all be put into my brain by the evil scientists. How do we know?
But they're very consistent, are they not?
The possibly illusory and implanted memories are very consistent.
Yeah. There's this guy named Isaac Newton, okay?
I heard of that dude.
Yeah, and you're asking him, hey, Isaac, why don't I fall off the face of the earth? And he's going to be like, well, Joe, there's this force of gravity pulling you down to the earth. The earth has a greater mass than you, therefore there's this force pulling you down. We call it gravity. And then some guy comes around, his name is Zahabi, and he tells you, no, Joe, don't listen to that guy. I have another theory that's truer than his. I believe there are gremlins pulling you down to the earth. They have lassos, these infinitely long lassos, and every time you're falling off the earth, they pull you. Every time you jump up and down on the earth, they pull you back down to the earth. You don't see these gremlins, they're invisible, but that's what's pulling you down to the earth. Now, how do you know who's right and who's wrong?
Than this. I think that, first of all, people are terrified of just how smart children are, and the differences between children have to be buried. So some children are great at abstraction. And a lot of the kids who are great at abstraction are learning disabled, according to the teaching system. Now, I personally think that most learning disabilities of a particular type are actually teaching disabilities. People don't know how to teach the smartest kids. And groups and things, you're going to lose some people because of the level of abstraction. But you're going to get other people who have never been able to buy a base hit in mathematics suddenly start overperforming. The surface of the Earth, where an extra circle is included at every point on the surface of that sphere, which you're now visualizing. And that extra circle, which would be called the fiber, when you take the totality of all of those circles together, one for each point on the surface of the sphere, they create something called a three-sphere. That is all the points that are 1 unit of distance away from the origin in 4-dimensional space.
But the intelligence would be so vastly superior to what we have currently that they'll be able to find solutions to virtually every single problem we have.
Well, that's right.
Fukushima, ocean, fish, depopulation, all that stuff.
It's all just arrangements of molecules, man. Yeah.
Whoa.
I like people who are outside of the norms. I think that probably a larger percentage of those people are going to be more interesting people because they're forged in the fire. So it's not just a case that, do you want to chase a couple of edge cases? Everybody with a really different experience is more important to me than everyone with a standard experience.